Hi everyone, my name is Leesa Dean and I'm reading today from Christova, BC, which is where I live. I'm going to be reading a long poem from a manuscript I'm working on right now, which is called How to Survive. So this was born from a chapbook that I produced in 72 hours back in September for an art slam. It was hosted by Anchors, which is our local organization that supports folks living with AIDS and also does a lot of really important work supporting drug users in the area and just anyone struggling, basically. So yeah, the prompt word was survival, and so I really got to thinking about what that word means, down to the very definitions that were given. The state or fact of continuing to live or exist, typically in spite of an accident, ordeal, or difficult circumstances. Also just the desire to want to survive. And there's a lot of different topics that are weaved through this collection, ranging from my time at a survival camp, learning all those concrete prepper skills like how to skin squirrels and trap rabbits back when I was a teenager, to my mother and her own survival story of when she had polio when she was younger and how it affected her whole life. And just the daily trauma of survival for people also considered. And then the pandemic is sort of at the center of that, for the moment anyways. We'll see how it shapes up. So I'll read this one poem. It's a longer poem with 5 parts called Self-Isolation. Number 1. Listen. Just listen. Hear the geometrics of forgotten feelings now arranging themselves in patterns intricate as bottle lightning. 2. Sewing quietly by the window, you notice a splash of blue sky over the dead willow tree, just drenched in symbolism, but it's the kind you need right now to survive. The needle folds into a torn dress for which no occasion exists to conjure it from the dry cleaner's plastic, unless you RSVP to this week's bizarre occurrence in a world you thought can no longer surprise you. Your second cousin is getting married over Zoom at a church on the old highway, its purple stained glass Jesus watching over the Arby's drive-thru. In the 90s, at a family reunion, the cousin's stepfather hoisted you over the fence, thick hands cupping your ass before you dropped into the parish next door, where the garden exploded with carrots and beets. You returned home with fistfuls of dirty phallic roots that you rinsed downstairs in the same bathroom where he later blew marijuana smoke into your eager mouth. And you enjoyed every minute of it back when you weren't old enough to understand shame. 3. The pumpkins are disintegrating, snow sugaring those brutal stems textured like the diatomaceous earth you dreamed of all summer, sold out at all the hardware stores. Because this place is an anthill, says your friend F one night at the Dam Inn, recently reopened after months of mediocre pizzas thrust through a makeshift drive-through window. I'll honk if we don't see you and wash your hands. He's right about the anthill. Each time your foot falls, an underground city shakes with the weight of your heel. And once, while shoveling dirt, you heard your daughter scream and turn to find her tiny arms swarming with fire ants. You killed them all with a violence you'd sooner forget. But still, it was the summer of spaciousness. Tendrils of July wind over the Slocan River, beach elongated by social distancing. You watched your daughter learn to hold her face underwater without fear, perhaps the only person on earth who wasn't afraid last summer. All August and September, you soaked yourself in the illusion of an endless summer, until those cold harvest moons bossed the sun right out of the sky. Now the pumpkins are disintegrating, and you're losing interest in everything, and no one knows what to say except, this will be over soon. 4. Large swaths of the USA went into lockdown today and the internet failed all across the Kootenays. You called your friend A for help, though you don't know what it is you need exactly. A in her elevated town, peeling fresh boiled eggs, milling grain for scones, pouring frozen raspberries from her own stalks into the batter while listening to klezmer. She's potentially the only person who could keep you alive. You're not sure how much of a survivalist you are, not really, but the badge you flash on the rare occasion you still try to impress anyone looks like this. Aircrew Survival Camp, summer of 1995. You were given rope, a flint and steel, wire, a single meal to stretch 100 hours. You were not given a pen, but you hid one in your bra where the sergeant was not allowed to look, because even then you knew what you needed to survive. You knew that poetry could start a fire if you wrote the right words to the right boy who knew how to use his flint and steel well. And perhaps that is true survival, bartering words for flame, writing your way through those lean moments and trusting that others will save you. 5. Wind tunnels through the garden, lifting corners of black tarp, singing its barren song of never-ending winter. The rattle of deer fencing reminds you of what grew there, what would never seed, and what still lies fallow beneath the snow. Thanks for listening. Hope you're all doing well. Look forward to the next installment of this reading series.